Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I'm doing my July TBR. July's TBR is going to be very similar to June's in that I am still studying for the bar because that does not happen until the end of the month. Therefore I am rereading books as opposed to reading new books. So you get to see some of my favorites since those are the ones that relax me after a day of learning the rule against perpetuities and the 14th Amendment's privileges or immunities clause versus the 4th Amendment's privileges and immunities clause, which I have actually mostly figured out at this point, meaning the rule of perpetuities because the and versus or is just a word. Anyway, you don't care about any of the legal part that is racing through my head, so let's get into the part you do care about, what books I'm planning on reading. I'm just including two series here because I don't know how many of them I'm going to get through in the month of July. The first one is Blade of Fire by Stuart Hill, which is the one I'm currently reading. I'm about halfway through it right now, but this is the second in the Cry of the Ice Mark series, and it follows Thurin 20 years after the events of the first book. Beyond that, I can't really say, except that that empire who was invading them in the first comes back for more in the second, and it's really great. I apparently remembered more events of the second book than I thought because I just finished the first book and didn't realize that there were some events in there that I thought were in the first book that are in the second. Either way, love the first book, and apparently remember more of this one, and I do enjoy this one as well. So I'm excited to continue reading it. And then obviously I'm going to finish the trilogy with The Last Battle of the Ice Mark, also by Stuart Hill, which is following the same people, Thurin, and post the events of the second book. I honestly can't say any more than that because there's a lot of spoilers. So, third book, I'm gonna finish the series. I'm then going to start another trilogy, which is one of my all-time favorites as well, which, let's be honest, these are just some of my favorite series. What else do you read when you're brain dead at the end of the day? First book of this series is Fire by Kristen Cashore. I like this book probably the least out of the three, but this is the prequel. It has nothing to do with the characters of Graceling or Bitterblue, but it has to do with monsters who live in this kingdom that really nobody knows about in the Graceling kingdoms. I enjoy it, I enjoy her writing, and I like the plot of it, but as a prequel I had expected it to be more connected to Graceling when it first came out. However, it has been several years since I've read this, probably at least 7, so I'm excited to get back into it and see if it's better than I remember. And then I will be reading Graceling, hopefully, which is one of my all-time favorite books. This is about a young woman who has the ability to kill. People are born and their eyes settle at a certain point into 2 different colors if they have a certain ability. They can have the ability anywhere from cooking and swimming to killing. The main character turns out to have this ability for killing, and she goes on an adventure to find out who kidnapped the prince of another kingdom's grandfather. They discover a lot of things about Katsa and about his family. It's really good, and I'm so beyond excited to finally reread this book again. And there's the last book in the trilogy, which is Bitterblue, also obviously by Kristen Cashore. I'm also really excited to reread this one because this one takes place after Graceling, and it does follow Katsa and one of the characters who was introduced in that book, Bitterblue. I remember really liking the third book, but I don't remember details, and I'm thrilled to finally have the time, sort of, to go back and read this book and remember it, because I remember loving it almost as much as I loved Graceling, which is saying something. The end of the month as well, since the bar is towards the end but not quite, you know, the 30th or 31st, I'm planning on finally finishing The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gawar. This one I've been 100 pages in for a solid month now, and I haven't advanced because I've been a little bit busy. Again, rule of perpetuities, constitution, crim law, fun stuff. So I'm planning on finishing this book by the end of the month because I should theoretically at least have a couple of hours to dedicate to it after the bar. But this is about a Georgian-era ship owner whose captain comes to him and says, "Sir, I sold your ship for a mermaid." And he says, "Okay, why'd you do that?" But then he finds out that it might actually be a good thing. And there's a lot of repercussions to owning a mermaid in Georgian times because there might be something magical about this mermaid in that strange things start to happen. Like I said, I'm only 100 pages into it, but I'm excited to figure out where it goes from there and what exactly this mermaid has to do with anything at all. So, definitely planning on finishing this one at some point this month, hopefully. Beyond that, I don't know how much time I'm going to have because I do have to look for jobs so that I don't just sit around unemployed after I finish studying for the bar and then, you know, taking the bar. Lots to do this month still, but I am hoping to at least to be able to read a couple of these books and then maybe have the brain power to start reading new books again after the bar is over with. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up down below. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button down below. As always, I will leave my Goodreads linked in the down bar if you want to check out what I read, or what books I usually read when I'm not rereading. But until my next video, bye.